Hello, darlings. I am Cassandra. Welcome and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for coming. In this video, I'm going to tell you why spells work best for evil people. I'm going to tell you why your magic isn't working. I know this is like a shock to me. Um, I'm just going to jump right in this video because I am super excited. Now, I like to tell stories in a long, around the way. And I got to tell a story to kind of pull it all in. I took a lot of good notes. This was a download from God this morning. So, when I awakened this morning, I was dreaming about slavery and how just like people, kids were being sold and they were going through a lot of disappointments and struggles to say the least, right? But what was important, what was coming to me was that the people who were living in slavery, they had to disconnect their mind from their heart in order to survive. There was no way you can survive when you were constantly losing family members. And, we all know the conditions of African American slavery in the United States, all over the world. And so, if you wanted to be able to do what was expected of you, if you wanted to be able to live, you couldn't think about it. You could not think, I just lost my kids, or I don't have my family. You can't think like that because you can't focus. So, their mind was constantly either in the future, wishing that life could be better or a better day, or maybe they lived in their dreams or in their imaginations, but they disconnected their mind from their heart because it was the only way life could be bearable. Now, the same scenario that came to me was, well, was a different situation, but it's the same concept that I'm discussing, is that you go to work and you absolutely hate your job. The customers are super rude and nasty and disrespectful to you, but you have to pay your bills, so you put up with it. So you deal with a lot of emotional abuse and disrespect. So now, in order for you to keep this job, and of course your employer want you to take all of this with a smile on your face. Hi, welcome to such and such and such, right? They want you to appear to be happy and pleasant no matter what the client or customer is saying to you because it's considered professional. Now, what happens is when you get home from work, maybe your kids or your mate want you to be vulnerable, right? Or be open. But you just like, look, dude, if I'm going to pay rent or mortgage or bills or car note and put food on this table, I need to, I got to keep this armor around my heart. Like, and so what happens is you numb your job, you numb your heart at work, but then you end up having, in order to survive and deal with your customers, but you still need to keep it numb when you get home. Not on purpose, but you really don't have the time to allow yourself to be vulnerable, to be open, to because you got to go. Wait, when you go home, you make dinner, you go to bed, and you have to go back and do it again. So you learn, I need to separate my mind, keep my head in the game, as we say, and we have our heart someplace else. So when we disconnect our heart from our mind, according to, I'm going to say God, because this is what came to me this morning. I don't, people use the word source, the universe. I always say God, she said. It doesn't matter. Okay. You know what I'm talking about. And whatever term is comfortable for you. But I'm going to say God. So that what woke me up this morning was, giving me scenarios of how people disconnect their mind from their heart. And so, I took so many notes. So I want to say this perfectly. And so what God whispered in my ear is that raw, honest emotions fuel magic, manifestations, and spells of any kind. It doesn't matter if it's a sigil, a candle, words, or thoughts. He said this is why some people don't even need magic at all. So basically, what came to me is that, and so, and I think this was in my previous video when I was saying God told me to tell the truth. That was so hard for me, is, like putting my business in the streets. I'm not into that. But God was, saying to me, she was like, look, when you are honest, you open up your power. When you feel shame or guilt, embarrassment, um, it blocks your power source for manifesting of the life you really want. So the way I was thinking about this, I was envisioning, like maybe a drain, that has a blockage, and when the water doesn't go down. But a better scenario would be water coming through a faucet and it's just dripping, because every time, for everything that you feel ashamed about, everything you feel guilty about, everything you feel that is important to society and other people, they all create blockages to you having access to the full force of your manifestation power, of your God power. So telling the truth and being connected to your truth, and it's how you manifest your, it's what causes your magic to work. It causes you to live the life of your dreams. So the other scenario that's coming to me was, now I don't know a lot about about cars, but your brain or your mind is like the steering wheel and the engine is your heart. So a lot of times people are driving, but they realize they're not getting anywhere. They're running into obstacles. Nothing is working out. They don't understand, like, why am I working so hard and nothing is working for me. So what came to me is that when you, like, say for example, let's just go back to the slavery example. If your mind is living in the future or in your imagination or in your dreams, or and you're not present in your body because you find the living conditions to be unbearable, you're going to have a very difficult time escaping. And so what came to me was that you when this is how you, other sources, other energy, entities, beings, people, society is able to harness your energy, and you're more susceptible to hexes and curses and the ill intentions of other people, of jealousy. It's difficult for you to get what you want in life when you have disconnected your mind and your heart. So I want to keep that right there. So basically, you're a slave, and let's just go with that. You're an enslaved person, and you have decided, I'm not gonna, I have to deal with disappointments. I have to deal with losing my kids. I have to deal with having my body, being taken against my will. There is just no way I'm going to be present for any of that. So my body is going to be here, but I'm going to be completely checked out mentally, spiritually, emotionally. So what happens is, what you don't understand is that when you are not connected to your body, your heart, right? I'm using your body and your heart synonymously, but actually, well, it's the same thing. Well, not the same thing, but the heart is where, it's when you live in your body. This is when you are connected to your heart. So let's just say you, what came to me was Shawshank Redemption. I don't know if anybody, that's my all time favorite movie. I don't think it's not even a close. Well, like, I have other things, but Shawshank Redemption is my all time favorite movie. But what came to me was that when the guy, he was innocent. He didn't, of the crime that he was being charged with, and he became extremely present in his body. And when he was planning his escape, he took the stones and he hit the pipes in rhythm with the thunderstorm, with the universe. He's What came to me this morning with, God, is that when you are present, this is the only way you can shape reality. This is the only way you will see your exit sign. This is the only way you will see your opportunities, is by being completely present, feeling your anger, feeling your hurt, feeling your shame, feeling your embarrassment. If you have mentally, psychologically checked out of your life because you find it to be too difficult, you are going to see that nothing, like, you're gonna have a life where it just feels like you're not getting anything you want. Now, the other thing that came to me is that, and I hate to say came to me because, like, I just woke up this morning and I just started writing on my little index cards. But is that, let's say, for example, you want to be a ballerina, right? And everybody is telling you, oh my God, you could never be a ballerina. You're never going to be, yeah, they're not going to pick you. It's going to be like, you're not going to make any money. Like, come on, grow up. Don't you want to, be a doctor, be a lawyer, don't you want to make money? Don't you want to, and you're just like, what? Yeah. Now, what came to me is that the person who pursues their dream blissfully, soulfully, wholeheartedly, is going to have a much more prosperous, happy life than the person who decides to go to medical school because they make more money and it's more rational. So, for example, if you want to be a ballerina, but you you go for audition after audition and they never select you, and you cry it out, you cry your little heart out because this is your dream, and you keep practicing and you keep practicing. According to what was coming to me this morning, this person may end up designing ballet, uniforms. What do you call them? Tutus or whatever. They may end up, owning their own ballet school. But anytime you follow a dream, the good, the bad, the ugly, and you feel the pain, you feel the disappointment, you feel, if anything isn't working, you're like, okay, shoot, I don't care because there is no place else I'd rather be. That type of commitment and dedication to what you want is going to give you a life of joy and fulfillment, even if you don't become a ballerina, but you've lived a life of truth and raw honesty. So the person who may go to med school, pass the exam, making, $500,000 a year, working, 2 hours a week, and they have everything, but they're miserable. They hate their life because they always wanted to be a ballerina. And even though they have the material things, they don't have the joy, they don't have the happiness. And they wonder, maybe, like, why is my marriage not working out? Why, what was coming to me is that they would seem to be a person who have everything, but because they didn't have the courage to pursue their dreams, their life will still be empty. And so the same thing that came to me, like, say you are a guy and there's this girl, she is your dream girl. He said the guy who goes after his dream girl is more, and even if he doesn't get her, and he pursues her, with his heart, he is more likely to be successful because it's something about people who follow their joy, who follow their heart, who go after what they want, and they don't care what other people think about them. So he may not end up with her, but he may end up with somebody that is much better than her because his heart is open. So making sure that your heart and your mind is connected is allows you to be open to new opportunities, for better opportunities, for love, prosperity. So if you are a person who is doing magic and you are not living your truth, if you are not being honest, if you are not, you know, like I said, just really being authentic and saying, I really don't like this, or I'm really not happy. This is not what I want for myself. Then you're going to have a really hard time manifesting what you want to accomplish or whatever you want to have. So, the other thing that came to me was like, so when I was receiving this download, is that the reason that people, the reason that magic works best for people who are evil is because they don't care what other people think about them. And we may perceive them as being evil, but remember, the more you are in alignment with your own personal truth, if you know you want to make a certain amount of money, if you know that you want a certain type of relationship, it's like if you are going after things because your parents feel like, oh, you can't marry a person of this ethnicity, or you can't do this type of job, or you're never going to make it like this. The more layers of other people's thoughts and ideas of what society expects from you, and sometimes you're not even aware of these the blockages, because you have been conditioned to care about what other people think, what other people think is best, what society think is best, what society feel is a morally acceptable career. But if you are a person who says, look, I'm gonna do what's best for me, for my money, for my heart, for my pocket, I'm going after the person I want, I'm going after the job I want, and I'm gonna live my life completely doing what I feel fuels my heart. People who are able to block out what other people think they should be doing with their life are people who have access to their raw God energy. And your raw God energy, your emotions, this is your power. And so what came to me is that, and I hate to say what came because it wasn't my idea, I wasn't thinking about it like that, is that it doesn't matter if it's a sigil, it doesn't matter if you're using candles, it doesn't matter if you're doing whatever magic you choose to use. If you are coming from the most authentic, pure, honest place that you can find, the rawest emotion, that is what's going to bring about this manifestation. And I know people have said this in a billion ways, but when I woke up, actually I woke up and there was like little African kids being sold, and the moms was crying. And so that's when I could hear like a voice in my head saying, see, when you block off, after you've gone, a lot of people have been through so much trauma in their life that they, in order to survive, they have blocked off their emotions. They have blocked off they don't feel that it's safe to be vulnerable. They don't feel that it's safe to really say, why would I admit that I want my freedom when I've seen so many people lose, their lives for trying to get freedom, and I haven't seen anybody else be successful at this. The more you are around people who are not successful, who aren't happy, who are not getting what they want, you stop believing that it's possible for you. And it's not just with enslaved people, it's with any group of people, any person who has experienced a disappointment after disappointment. Take a moment to visit my Etsy shop, Cassandra Magic World, and you will see a plethora of metaphysical tools to align with your goals and your dreams. Each magic talisman comes with instructions as well as a feng shui chart and how to make changes in your home and how to charge your sigil. The other thing is that you cannot fake this type of emotion. So if you are used to lying to yourself or lying to other people about how you feel, how's your day? It's going great. If you are just a person who is, you're really not connected to how you feel about anything because you have found that maybe growing up your opinion didn't matter, or I'm gonna tell you what happened. What happened to me is that I work in an environment that is very political. So I start, I watch my mouth, right? So when people ask me, well, how do you feel about this? I don't know. How do you feel about it? You know what I mean? Like, at some point, I just stopped knowing how I felt because I didn't want to, I just didn't feel like it was for my highest good to ever reveal my true feelings. And I knew that, sharing my true feelings could get me in a lot of trouble, and possibly lose my job. So of course I'm not going to say how I feel. I don't know. How do you feel about it? No, how do you feel about it? Now we can, get into some deep discussions, but I'm never going to tell people, how I feel because I've learned to shut that part of myself down. Now I don't believe we should live in a world of pure chaos where we just can say and do whatever we want to do because you know what I mean? That would be just, no, we can't live like that. But what was coming to me is that the more removed you are from your true feelings and your about life, about what you want, the more difficult it'll be to how can you get what you want when you don't really know what you want. And in order for things to manifest and for you to have access to your God power, you have to be, I know what came to me is that when you are requesting something that is from the heart, that is when the heart and the mind work together. And also, all areas of your life, even though your heart and mind may be disconnected in certain areas, it doesn't affect all areas of your life. So I know I'm so happy I turned this back on. So what came to me in this, and it tore me down today. It was a good tear down. I had, I'm kind of like embracing this whole tear thing. Was God was showing me why I was able to do well in school. So guys, let me tell you this story, okay? For most of you guys know, I took a GED out of high school. It's a general education diploma. I dropped out of high school in ninth grade. Yeah, I used to skip school to go to the library because I loved it. But I wasn't always in the library, but because when my best friend moved to Georgia, I would just go ahead and take the Grand River bus to the yeah downtown, the Joy Road bus downtown to the Detroit Public School, Detroit Public Library off of Woodward. It was my favorite place to be in the world. But anyway, long story short, so I took my GED out of high school, and I didn't want to go to college, but the GED counselor insisted that I go to college. He said, like, you have some really high scores. We want you to go. He insisted. He filled out all the paperwork, and I'm like, I'm not into school. It's not my thing. But I remember I was at Henry Ford Community College Library. I'll never forget this as long as I live. I stumbled across a book called The African American Woman, and in this book, whew, the women were talking about the book was talking about how slaves were not allowed, the enslaved people, the women were not allowed to nurse their own babies because they had to nurse the master's kids, and they had to feed their own kids pig slop. When I read that, I cried my little heart out. I would never forget as long as I live. It was under the waterfall at Henry Ford Community College in the library. I cried and I cried and it was like I couldn't imagine not being allowed to nurse my own baby. And I told those women, like, I just made a vow. I made a pact. I said, I'm going to go to school for us. I'm going to go to school for every woman who could nurse her own baby. And so, whenever it was difficult, whenever I had this teacher or anything that was trying to stop me, I remembered that I wasn't in college just for myself. I was there for us, for every, you know what I mean? So God was showing me that even though I had skipped through high school, but the raw emotion, the raw devotion is why I was able to do well, even though there were so many obstacles. There was a lot. It was a lot of stuff. But because I had access to my God power, my goddess power, I was able to overcome all those obstacles because not only did I own the engine, I owned the steering wheel. And so the other thing was for doll making. A lot, I love making dolls. I'm a self-taught doll maker. I didn't, like I said before, I didn't know how to read other people's patterns. But if you notice, my dolls have full lips, right? All of them. And so my dolls, my mother always like hated like big lips. She would say, holding your lips, you don't want to have soup coolers. And but my dolls to me were a, a love story to myself. Like, I'm gonna love myself. I'm gonna love my lips because this is the way God made me, right? So it was self acceptance. So it was fueled by raw emotion. So raw emotion is honest emotion. It's, even if you don't agree with how other people feel about your art, your music, your whatever you're working on, but when you can tap into your truest expression of your soul, that's when you will find this alignment. So this is what God was telling me, that there are several areas in every person's life where it seems like, wow, this always works for them. That's because their heart and their mind is connected. So if some area in your life is not manifesting or is not working, try to uncover where you are blocked from your truth, right? And that even in pursuit of this truth, it doesn't mean that you may get this person or get whatever, but the fact that you are being honest, the fact that you are aligned with your truth, the fact that you are not denying that you want that management position, that you really want a guy like this, or when somebody hurts your feelings or disrespect you, you're like, I'm not dealing with this, because you are connected to how you perceive yourself to be and how you want to be treated. You're still going to have a very prosperous and happy life. So, here are some things that came to me to tell people how to connect their mind and their heart. And so let me see. One of them is journaling. But after a while, you can really get in your head with journaling. But the mindset is you need to jump back into your body. So one of the things that came to me was when you get up in the morning, like, don't jump on your social media, jump in your body. Like, You should know how your toothpaste tastes. You should taste your morning breath. You should know what your room look like and the different shadows. Like pay attention to everything, the way things feel, the way they taste, what they smell like really be present in your environment. Just think about if you haven't seen Shawshank Redemption, think about how in this when he was planning his escape, how he knew everything. As a matter of fact, one of the things that came to me is that you should know your enemies better than they know themselves. People who are present in their bodies, in their environments, who use all of their senses, are people who live the who are able to shape and mold reality. You can't change something that you when you are just living in your head. You have to live in your body also. So one, like, like, oh, making your breakfast in the morning, that you should really like put energy into your breakfast, making meals that require like chopping the vegetables, that not quick meals, like staying away from like TV dinners, but things that require you to use your hands. The more you use your hands to create your food, cleaning your home, cleaning your car, like being so, like washing your dog, watering your plants, all the things that we need our body for. Going for a walk and really like looking at the trees, not just like walking really really fast, but really stopping to pay attention to any animals, or watch the squirrels, or touch the flowers, like really be to really really be present in your body. So let me see. I want to make sure that I forget anything. I think I pretty much said everything. And plus, you have the ideas before you. Oh, also be present in your body when you first get up, and be present in your body before you go to bed. Meaning, like, don't be, not don't be. It's look, guys. I believe people should live however they want and do whatever they want. But when you're present in your body, let's say before you go to bed, and you decide, I'm going to just really feel, do some yoga, or I'm going to just enjoy my, whatever you do, like paint, draw. You just want to be present in your life, in your home, in your body. Like really get into, like, this is me. Like you shouldn't, and this is my life. And I think it was some questions that I don't know if I wrote them down. Like, anyway, so you want to be present in your body. You want to make sure you prepare your meals that are complex, that requires chopping. Do something athletic with your body, watering your plants, your dog, and I'm sorry, water your dog. Like washing. If you have an animal, like give your, instead of taking them to the vet, if you can, because the more you use your physical body, the more present you will be in your body. And when you're present in your body, this is how you connect to your heart. And when you connect to your heart, this is how you have access to your full godlike power, which allows you to manifest your dreams more potently, faster, and but you can't do this without being extremely honest, because anything that you're embarrassed about, anything that you're afraid to talk about, anything that you are ashamed of, these are all blockages to your godlike power. So you have to live in your total truth. And the other thing that came to me was that people who live in their power, they own their shadow self. They own themselves. So like for the election that's happening right now, there, a lot of people would say, well, why is this person able to, look guys, I don't want to make this political, but I'm talking about raw energy, okay? Why some people will wonder, why is this person able to run for the run for office with a criminal record and blah 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 blah, because he's living in truth. He's live, and whenever you live in your truth, you live in your power. It's like I'm not. They're not. If you are ashamed of your past, if you are ashamed of who you are, if you are ashamed of your story, if you are ashamed of what you've been through, you're gonna have a really hard time living the life of your dreams. So anyway, in my, I think it was just my previous video, I was just like, it was like pulling teeth. I did not want to make that video, but that video led to God waking me up with this video. When you live in your truth, you have access to your full God power, because and you are unstoppable. But you have to let go of what of society's expectations for you. You have to let go of what people think of you. You have to at every moment be aware of your own truth and believe in and that's the only way you can truly believe in yourself. It's not because you have a ton of things that you just like are so ashamed of, but it's because like, no, this is my life, this is who I am. People make mistakes and just move on. Like there has to be this undeniable passion that you have for your time on this planet, and that you respect and that you honor and that you don't care what anybody say. I really hope this video helps someone. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you darlings in the next video.